Hey guys, it's Annie Walters. Today we are doing Reflection 8. This is the second week of abortion, and this week we are we're looking over Margaret Little and also Callahan. Our reflection prompt is to basically compare and contrast both of these authors and figure out which approach makes more sense to us and why. So Little is definitely, I would say, pro-choice, and Callahan is pro-life. She's Her topic is over a case for pro-life feminism, and she argues quite a few things about that. So I'm going to start with Callahan first. She looks at the pro-choice perspective and argues that this perspective is inconsistent with the feminist view of equality and empathy. She thinks that we should be treated with men the same, but when you are pro-choice with the feminist perspective, it's kind of like treating an unborn developing human like a piece of property. And so whenever feminists do the same, it's inconsistent with the values and it's morally a bad thing in Callahan's viewpoint. She says that feminists think that that it's necessary to promote the autonomy of one. So they think that it's important to pursue the education and equal of men. But whenever you go down this road, you basically are promoting like the objective of sex, lack of commitment. It can lead to irresponsiveness. And on the other hand, Callahan thinks, she kind of talks about monogamy and chastity and how you're going to have more respect for women. You're going to have a shared responsibility of parents, and it's more of a grateful fulfillment if you follow that road. Little, on the other hand, she kind of starts building on the argument that it's risky if you have a burden with having a child, and she thinks that a group of cells to develop into a baby and it makes somebody become a mother, and it impacts your priorities of life and you can be outcast in your family. She doesn't want anybody to ignore that. She thinks that your burdens are very high if you feel the need to keep the child. And so even though it's a potential UDH for the mother to be a mother when the baby is developing, the case for the UDH is dependent on the mother. So sometimes they say abortion is kin to killing another adult, but Little argues that it's very different because if you are killing somebody, you are killing an independent person, and they don't rely on others like a UDH would. And so it can't really be equated because a UDH can't live without a mother. And so they don't think that is like killing or any kind of murder for anything like that. Her distinction between justice and decency is that some are indecent but they're not unjust. And so there's a moral gray area, I think. If you look at the soldier example that she came up with, how the soldiers are going to war, they're a virgin, and they ask if somebody could have sex with them before they go onto the field, and Little says that you don't have an obligation to do that, and just like with the grenade example as well, you don't have to save them by jumping on the grave, or the grenade, excuse me. She thinks that it's indecent, but you don't have an obligation for it. So she also thinks that the same is true for abortion, sometimes indecent, but it's never unjust and permissible. So that's the argument between both of them. I definitely think that there is I think I am kind of more on the side of Callahan. She brings up a lot of good arguments that I agree with, but I also see sides of both, and so I think I would stay more on Callahan's side, and that is my discussion post.